So these are my racehorse books. Whoops. Hi, my name is Ashley and I love horses. I'm a lifelong horse owner and I spent over 10 years working professionally in the horse industry. What I want to do today is have a discussion about horse books. Being a lifelong horse lover and also lover of reading and books, I of course have a lot of horse books. So I want to show you today some of my favorites and make some recommendations. And then I'd also love to hear some recommendations from you guys. What are some of your favorite horse books? If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Today I'm going to just focus on nonfiction books. So I have only a handful of fiction horse books because I used to get so many from the library. I don't actually own that many, but nonfiction books I own a few more. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a shelf tour. We're not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to point out some that I want to talk about. The horse section is this shelf here, and then there's a shelf right underneath that has some horse books as well. So this is going to be the section that I focus on today. I'm just going to start in no particular order from the outside in. The first book that I want to highlight is called Ride the Right Horse, and this is by Yvonne Bartow. I remember reading this first as I think a teenager, or maybe when I was in my early 20s. And basically what Yvonne does is she breaks down all horses' personalities into 4 main personality types. So there's social, aloof, fearful, and challenging. And then they also are on a sliding scale of how passive to aggressive they are in that personality type. Then she goes and talks about, for humans, the Myers-Briggs testing and the different personality types there that we fall into, and she helps you sort of think about how your personality fits with your horse's personality, or if you're maybe looking for a horse, what kind of horse personalities would work well with you. So this, when I read this, was my first exposure to Myers-Briggs. I think now it's a lot more common that people know about it, but at the time I didn't really, so it was kind of eye-opening. And I've actually returned to this book a few times to read some of the ideas and the wisdom in it. I haven't read it cover to cover in years, but there's lots of little tidbits in there, and that's why I ended up buying it, because I wanted to be able to come back to it from time to time. Also, the horse on the cover, this Palomino, is so pretty. Next is The Faraway Horses by Buck Brannaman. Buck is a horse trainer. He's fairly well known. There's a documentary about him called Buck. It actually says that on there. See the award-winning documentary Buck. It starts out talking about his life and how he had kind of a rough upbringing, and then how he got exposed to horses and started his career and became a horse trainer like he is today. So this one too, I haven't read it in a while. It's been a few years, but I remember really liking it and I would really recommend it. I also like his philosophy. I like everything I've seen of him. He's been pretty above board and has a good reputation in the horse community. So this is a good one. Next, I think this one is almost a classic at this point, The Man Who Listens to Horses by Monty Roberts. Monty Roberts is famous for being a trainer for the natural horsemanship method. If you know the join up idea, that's his kind of, I don't know if he invented it, but he made it popular, I think. He's been around for a long time, and he has a few other books too, but this is kind of the biography of his life as well, and I found it to be quite interesting, and I think if you're interested in horse trading at all, this is one you should have read. Next, I have Riding Home by Tim Hayes. And this book is all about equine therapy. So the author talks about these different organizations that welcome people who are having mental health issues, like at-risk youth and veterans and people who are incarcerated and maybe haven't had a lot of human connection, and then how the horses and the equine therapy can help them with their rehabilitation and becoming sort of better citizens. When I read this book, I found it to be very inspiring and I really enjoyed it. It really made me want to work with a program like that. And after this, I got a chance to volunteer with an equine assisted learning program for at-risk youth. So I got to spend a little bit of time helping out with that. So this book is very inspiring if that's the type of book you like to read, and I do recommend it. I want to next show you a chunk of books. So these are my racehorse books. Whoops. I have Seabiscuit by Lauren Hillenbrand. I have Northern Dancer by Kevin Chong. I have Secretariat by William Knack. And My Guy Barbaro by Edgar Prado. This one I haven't actually read. I am a classic bookworm who buys books and then says I'll read them later. So don't judge me because there's a lot of us like that. But this one I'm looking forward to reading at some point. These three though, I will say if you like racehorses and you like stories about thoroughbreds and the racetrack, any of these is pretty solid, is a pretty solid choice. I remember, I think it was Northern Dancer, when I was working at the racetrack, I would bring this along and read it sometimes, and it was really cool to have conversations with other racehorse racing enthusiasts and just to kind of talk about the sport, and that me reading this book was sort of a conversation starter. However, I will say out of the three that this one was probably the slowest, the one it took me a long time to finish, and I don't know if that was more of a me issue or the book's issue. I'd be interested if anybody else has read this one, if you liked it, and kind of how many stars you would give it compared to these other two. I know a lot of people really like Seabiscuit, and then obviously Secretariat. If you don't have time to read the book, you should watch the movie. The one with Diane Lane on Disney Plus, I think, probably. That one, I really love that movie. So this is my current racehorse collection. I'm a fan of thoroughbred racing, so if you do have a book that's not here that you really like, please let me know. I would love to read it. Next, I'll show you my exercise books. So I have 101 Arena Exercises for Horse and Rider by Cherry Hill. I have 101 Dressage Exercises by Jack Aristotle Ballou, and 101 Western Dressage Exercises by Jack Aristotle Ballou and Stephanie Boyles. What I like about these books is, so I don't ride with a coach right now, and each of these gives you just a bunch of different exercises to work on, things you can try. Like it tells you how to ride the exercise, what you want to do. They all have these little holes, so the idea is that you can hang it up on a fence post and look at it when you're already on the horse. But for me, I actually either just put notes in my phone or I take pictures and then I bring my phone along with me, and that works out really well too. And I like these because they just give you different ideas of what to do and kind of some inspiration when you're maybe not having some ideas. I also chose these ones specifically because they're ones I can do on the ground. I'm not an experienced jumper, so anything with jumping is probably not the safest for me to be trying on my own. And then I don't have any cattle right now, so anything with them, such as reined cow horse or something, like I don't need a book like that. So these are all easy for me to do in my own little arena and on my own facility with my horses without any extra help. The next one, I don't actually have the book, it's in the other room, but I have the book jacket. This is Centered Riding by Sally Swift. And this is another one that, yeah, I like the books in the other room. This is another one where Sally talks you through proper horsemanship, proper ways to be sitting, how your alignment should be, and gives you a lot of exercises that you can work through with your horse when you're riding. This too, I'll read it before I leave the house. I'll put the notes in my phone, and then when I'm on the horse, I'll be checking and reading it. And this one too, I will put the notes in my phone before I leave the house, and then bring my phone with me and read it as I'm getting ready to ride and deciding what I'm going to work on that day with one of my horses. So that's that book I think has a really good reputation. It's very well known amongst equestrians, so definitely check that one out if you haven't. The last books I want to highlight today are my breed books. So I have this one, Crazy for Horses by Karen Briggs and Sean Hamilton, and then Horse Breeds of the World by Judith Draper. This one, Crazy for Horses, I actually got this at a book fair when I was in elementary school. And then I got Horse Breeds of the World only a few years later, I think also elementary school or maybe early like teenager. And both of these just talk all about different horse breeds and a lot of pictures. And I remember just spending hours poring over each one and learning all the breeds and their characteristics and, you know, dreaming about the day when I would work with each one of them. And I did. This one's cool. It shows a lot of pictures. So where I don't maybe necessarily go back to these books a lot these days, this many years into my horse career, they were so good for me when I was a kid. And if you do have a horse crazy kid, I highly recommend you get them some sort of breed book so they can learn all about all the different types of horses and everything that comes along with learning all of that. So I just wanted to highlight those as well. But I think that's it for now for my horse books. If you want to see more of my horse books, or if you want to talk about fiction horse books, please let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And I'd also love to hear your just horse book recommendations. Let me know in the comments what I should read. Thanks a lot. Make sure that you spend some time outside today, get away from a screen for a bit, and I'll see you next time.